Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to MVP Office Hours, June 24th, 2022 edition. It's Friday, so we're very excited about that. I'm not Squire Kirshner. I'm actually Joy Shutters Helbing. My Twitter handle's on the screen. Or you can still see the screen, is that right? Yeah, all right, fantastic. My partners Dale and Squire are not available today. And so I will be attempting to handle the questions and the hosting of our little MVP office hours today so that we can get through all your challenges. You can find more information at mvpofficehours.info. You can email us at mvpofficehoursus@gmail.com. However, we encourage you to post in the community because the success community is where more people can answer your questions. And so if you put your stuff there, we can get to it just as quickly and you have a broader audience to address your situation as quickly as possible. Generally speaking, not this month, really, not next month. MVP office hours is on the first and the third Friday, but because of holidays and whatnot, sometimes we switch things around. Our next call is scheduled for July 8th. And so that's coming up soon. That's 2 weeks, right? That's 2 weeks. So we'll be talking to everyone again on July 8th. Welcome to everybody, to all current and future MVPs. Dale likes to tell everybody that, well, we're all MVPs here because you're asking for help, and that's probably the hardest thing that some people have to do. We ask that everybody participate and share your experience, insight, recommendations with the group. Post some valuable links that you might have and resources and answers in the chat. We'll work on capturing those as best we can into the PowerPoint. If you have questions, post your question in the chat or just raise your hand with the reaction button at the bottom while you're on the call. And we recommend sharing your screen, but please, 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 please do not share any private data or information that could get you in trouble when it's posted on a public YouTube channel. Because remember, we are recording the session and we don't want anyone to get in hot water over anything. It's an open QA. Registration link is on the left of the screen. And we've got some favorite hashtags. So that's some of our housekeeping. And then next we have our upcoming Dreamin' events. London's Calling happened, came and went. Your Dreamin' has come and gone. Same with Southeast Dreamin'. And then Dreamin' in Color is coming up next week. And then some Salesforce events. We've got Midwest Dreamin' and Witness to Success coming up in Minneapolis. And then Dreamforce is the next big event. And I'm sure there's other community-led events that are further down that calendar, but we will see if we can get those available to everyone. And we've got someone else in the waiting room. All right. And so we're going to start with, let's see, if we have any of these folks on the call, we can start with them. But Lucas, I don't see Lucas on the call, had questions about source URL field on chat transcript not populating. He said he's implemented live chat, but the source URL field on the chat transcript record is not populated. I thought this field was automatically populated upon setup. Perhaps he missed something when creating our embedded service snippets for chat. If you know something about this, we can certainly dig in back here. It looks like we don't have a lot of movement here, but if you have answers about this, I'm sure Lucas would appreciate this. I don't even know where to start with this. So I'll put that little his cry for help in the chat. If anyone here has some understanding about the live chat, maybe we can get Lucas pointed in the right direction. I'm seeing a lot of no.
It's been a hot minute since I've done that.
Yeah, that's okay. I can appreciate that. I also would not even dream of commenting on something I didn't have a clue about. So I don't have that live chat experience, but if someone does, please comment on that. The next thing that we had was Jen L. And I don't see Jen on the call either. She had a success story where the restriction rules were used to restrict a subset of tasks only to a group of people, and she needed a group of users be able to log tasks on accounts and contacts that are visible only to the group of people. and it looks like they got through it. So she was able to use the restricted rules for this. So she's all good. Marla's not on the call. No. Recycle bin in the utility bar. I thought that recycle bin had been made available to be included in the utility bar. I just have to remember adding it for some clients. But today she looked in 4 different orgs and the recycle bin on the utility bar is gone. Does anyone have any ideas about the recycle bin on the utility bar? Hello, Michelle. So we're talking about Marla's question in the community before we get started with some stuff, but Marla's not on the phone or on the call on the phone. So Marla's question is here. Anyone has any insight on the utility bar? Marla's not here today, but if you've got questions or want to come back to it, you can take a look at that. And then the last question that we had was, oh, Lizelle, you're on the call. I'm so excited.
Yes. Oh, okay. So is it my turn?
It is your turn because you posted in the community, so we can talk about this before we get started on the other stuff. And you got a couple comments, it looks like. Did you get your answer?
I got my answer, but it wasn't the answer I wanted. It looked like I can't add a custom. It's because assets is a standard object. It looks like I was going through Google and whatnot. It's saying because it's a standard object, you can't add your own actions, which I thought was weird. But I guess this whole little blog thing reinforced that. So unless someone else here has made it work, that would be awesome.
Are you using the related list or the dynamic related list functionality that just came out?
I'm using the related, and I also tried the standard and I couldn't get it. Actually, I just tried on the dynamic. I didn't try it on the standard.
I know the dynamic allows you to do custom actions on there. You can add them. It could be because of the object you're using that there's limitations on that. I didn't dive very deeply into the documentation other than the fact that you could do that. So it could be a restriction from the asset, if that's what you're saying. But I know you can add custom actions to the dynamic ones because I've done it. So if you add the new dynamic related list that came out in summer here, you can add your standard actions, also add your custom actions to that dynamic related list that you add.
Jacob, when you did that, do you remember doing it? Because I was seeing documentation or somewhere a post of some sort that you could add actions, but it has to be off of a custom object. Or maybe I'm just doing it wrong. That could be it too.
Let me see. What's the object, the page layout that you're using? Was it account or?
Actually, my main object is item fulfillment. It's a custom object. And then I'm using a related list of asset, which is standard.
I'm just gonna.
So assets are the related list on the item. Got it.
Yes.
So it looks like assets is a no-go object for that. So it's only the standard new button that's available because I just tried it in my org. And
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for confirming.
yeah, unless it's also possible I don't have any custom actions created for the assets. So that could also be the reason why none is showing for me. So
but if so if that, like, I created my custom action, and if it's not on my action list, I just see, new being an action. I guess that's the way to go, right? It's only one way to create an action, I guess is my question.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Wait.
So if
Yeah, it should be.
it should be, okay, because when I go into that asset, I'm able to add that action into the actual, but not via the dynamic related, so.
Is
All
it a
right.
math action by chance?
A map. No, it's just an edit with it's just a custom action to edit a field.
Okay.
So,
Because there is a contingency that mass actions are not supported on the dynamic related list, but it looks like there's the ability to add the list view action bar and then other actions. So I'm just not sure why your actions aren't showing. That's rude.
oh, gotcha. Okay, so this maybe calls for a support ticket then, if anything.
Can't
Okay.
hurt.
It can't hurt. Yeah. Thank you.
I mean, they will tell you if they can't help. So, and
Yeah.
they'll send you to a knowledge article for sure if they can't help you. So there's that.
Okay, awesome.
Oh,
Thank you.
all right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So that's all the questions we have like lined up for today. If anyone else has any questions or concerns about how they're doing whatever they're trying to do, now's the time to drop them in the chat or raise your hand. Otherwise, you all are, I mean, you're superstars. You don't need help with anything. You got everything going for you.
So Joy, I was looking up the question about the recycle bin and the utility.
Ooh, yes.
There is no like out of the box module that does it, but that's not to say that you can't. I mean, obviously you could create a component if you create a Lightning Web component that showed the recycled bin contents. You could create that custom component and then allow it to be shown in the utility bar, and then the user could click on that and then see a listing of all the items in the recycle bin. That would be extremely custom and not out of the box. I'm not sure that that's a valuable thing to do because it is something that in the app manager, if you wanted to see the recycle bin as a tab in an app, you can add it as a tab through the Salesforce app builder in the app manager. So I'm not sure that it gains you anything from a usability or user experience aspect, but
I think that's really good feedback. I think like it's possible to build the LWC. However,
yeah, I would just go with the out of the box way of just adding it as a tab in an app if you needed one.
Yeah. I really miss this one feature in Classic where the recycle bin was just there on the bottom. The bottom left, it was always just there in that left rail. I kind of miss it, but at the same time, I really like the new stuff. So got to trade things off. Diane, I'm so excited that you have a question. I really am, because it's gonna be a quiet day if we don't get some questions in here. And the guy's gonna be like, Joy, you didn't let anyone in the room. And I'm like, but I did. I let people in.
Yeah, my question has less to do about email attachments and more about just attachments. So I've been at my new position for about 8 months now. And one of the projects I wanted to do was move attachments to files because the company had not done it yet. And so I went down the path of, Magic Mover, put it in Sandbox, took care of every, a number of records in Sandbox, felt good that I could move into production, load it in production. We had 86,000 attachments showing it in storage usage. So I, proceeded to do attachments and it wasn't finding any. And I'm like, what the heck? I've got 86. It found 5,000 and then it wasn't finding any more. I'm like, that's odd. So I used demand tools to pull out the remaining attachments and found that they're all attached to email messages. And so many of them are logos, our little Twitter logos, little LinkedIn, little Facebook, little Instagram, little things I want to kill. So I'm just wondering if anybody has dealt with this. Like I have a developer who works for me and I kind of send him down the path of help. Can you try and figure out any way that we can isolate these so I can maybe run, mass deletes on a regular cadence, or because, it brought my my attachments down 5,000. We still have 81,000 attachments.
Right. And many of them feel like they're matched up with like someone's signature line or, yeah, I hear you.
Totally, but you can't identify. I don't know of a way to identify that. And I've read articles of other people saying, well, they just made an assumption if it was under this size that it was probably a logo file, and they just delete them. But I'm just curious if anybody on the call has had any experience with that.
I think once upon a time in the org that I was in that we dealt with this, they were just kind of unceremoniously deleted.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm not saying that's a best practice. I'm saying that's what happened at a previous company that I was at.
Yeah.
So
I know there's a third-party application that you can buy. I don't want to buy anything. And I'm kind of on the same page where right now it's not affecting our, any storage limits. We're not hitting any thresholds. We're not even close. So I'm not too concerned about it. I just like to keep things clean.
mhm.
And knowing that all those logo files are out there makes me kind of crazy. So I was just not sure where to go, but
Anyone
no
else
one
have
else-
those tiny logo files that they're making you crazy? Because I agree with you. They're infuriating.
yeah, I mean, the ones that are actually labeled like Twitter PNG or Facebook, not all of them get labeled like that, but the ones that are, it would make a little dent in the 81,000. It's like 175 over the last, 2-3 years. So, I mean, I could go in and say anything that says Twitter PNG, delete it, but there's just so many more than just that. So,
right.
Um,
Oh, Stu.
yeah. So you are opening up the can of the bane of my existence today.
oh, I'm sorry.
If someone can figure out a way for Salesforce to better handle attachments files, the content document link object inside of Salesforce is how objects are linked to notes and attachments or files, this matter, to determine what that content is related to. Here, I'm not so worried about those little logos and images and GIFs and whatever, although those are pain in the paticus. The bigger problem is if you are at a regulated industry such as a financial, healthcare, a manufacturing shop, and then you need to know that a document that was saved inside of Salesforce now has a life. It has a life cycle. You need to know when that was entered. What is its category or type of information? What is it related to? Is it related to an account or a case or a contact or an opportunity? And what is the audited life of that document inside of your org? Inside of the Salesforce file and note object, there is no standard way of typing that or setting the ILM, the Information Lifecycle Management record of that. And there's no good way of archiving or purging that to know that it is now done, meaning it's the related record that it was attached to is now finished with whatever job it had. The email that it was associated with is now completed with it, the job that it was done. Or the account that it was attached to is now expired, or the opportunities expired, or the case is expired, because that content, because of the linking, that content document link record, the way that Salesforce, when you look at it, how it all inputs it, it could be related to one too many different objects, and one or many different accounts, and one or many, and it won't be able to tell you when it's done with all those things. It is an architect's nightmare. So yes, all of those logos, all that fluff that's out there is painful. But when you get down to, are you done with that thing that you're ready to delete? That is a deep, dark, nasty question. Are you done with it? How do you know? I'd love to know. I'd love someone to work with Salesforce and figure that out. How can you tell the admin, architect, developer that we're done with that file? We can have it purged. It's not going to bother anything. Auditors are okay with that. It's a problem. I'm off my soapbox now.
Well, I'm sorry to bring that up on a Friday, but have you tried to log any kind of an idea or anything, Stuart? I would vote for it.
We'd all vote for it, Stu. We don't vote
Mhm.
for it.
I have no idea how that's going to fit into the idea box, but sure.
But if you get it out there, we just had a big meeting with the idea folks, the Chicago Trailblazer Community Group, and we talked to them a little bit about all the ideas that come in and how they get reviewed, etc.
Mhm.
There was a lot going on that day, but they do read them, they understand them, they try to respond to them. Diane, I don't know.
Well, if my developer comes up with anything, I don't know that my developer would be able to solve your problems too, but if he comes up with a way to remove at least the little files,
Yes.
I will let everyone know.
Okay.
Let's have a discussion about that. I think it's the next step to greatness.
At a prior company of mine, we trained our staff to go and delete all those things. It could be from email in the case, we would go into the email message, delete those out. I know it's not a great answer, but it does solve your problem.
Yeah, I don't know that I want them
Yeah.
doing that, like I don't want them spending time doing that. It just seems like they could isolate signatures in some way to just strip them out, and that would get rid of the Twitters, the LinkedIns, the Facebook, and then your company logo, but
Right.
whatever. Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
Makes me cringe every time I see those added to like an entire company's like email. And I'm like, I don't want it on my email. I don't want to send it to people. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. They're like, oh no, we want the company logo and we want the marketing video and we want the, I'm like, great.
I mean, it sounds like, Diane, you should put that in the idea exchanger, like an improvement to the Magic Mover to also be able to identify some of those files and not move them over, if they could pull them somehow.
Well, they didn't. The Magic Mover will not move over email attachments. And they told me that, and because I posted in the group there, and they said that you'll still be able to access those attachments in Lightning, so they don't need to be moved over. But the Magic Mover won't touch them.
But outside of that relationship,
Okay.
because of the way that Salesforce saves those records,
Yeah,
how that content document link record works.
yeah, that's why.
Yeah, it was too hard for Magic Mover to do as well.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
That's not a group. What the heck? or it's not a group I'm
But,
playing in right
yeah,
now.
ask and submit an idea about signatures. I don't know. There's probably a ton of them out there already. I'll just go look and vote on it.
That's a start. It's a start. So the next thing we had up was Todd had a question about some fun stuff. Where'd you go, Todd?
And I'm here.
Yay.
Hey,
About
Joy,
contact relationships, start and end dates. How are you, Todd?
just a real quick comment on your signature requirement. I love it when my required signature is 10 times longer than the one-line email I need to send.
And the thing is, I 100% respect the sales folks who are reaching out to the customers and the support folks who are like in touch with customers, having all that in there. But when all of my emails are internal,
Yes.
like maybe we can have an internal external thing going. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
So I posted my question yesterday at about 1:30 Central Time. I thought I put it in our MVP, but maybe I got it somewhere else. I did get one answer, but I wanted to throw it out to this group.
Well,
So,
I don't see it.
well, I'll have to go back and see where I posted it. On the account contact relationship object, there's a start date and an end date field.
Mhm.
My question is there any out-of-the-box functionality built into those dates, or are they just informational? The reason I ask is we have an employee that moved over from another Salesforce company. And she said, well, whenever we used those dates and the end date hit, they would just go away everywhere.
They were deleted.
Well, I can't get out of her exactly what go away everywhere means. But I'm just like, is there anything built around those two date fields that anyone knows about? What they would like to do is somehow use them, because we're a yearbook company and we have yearbook advisors that change during the summer, and they'd like to use the start and end dates to determine who's the yearbook advisor now. But I'm not finding anything that's tied to those fields. They seem to be just informational, but I'm trying to confirm it.
I am trying to remember, but I feel like they were informational, like more so that like when you like they are this person is related to this account during these dates, and then they moved on. Like they joined the company on this date, they left the company on this date. But unless there's something else going on in the background, like that would update a status or would like I don't feel like it would be best practice to like delete them.
Or they may have broken the association or something. I don't know. But what we were hoping to do with the new dynamic related lists was be able to show active and inactive based on those dates. But account contact relationship is not part of the new dynamic related lists yet. So I
Right.
can't do that.
Right.
As long as there's nothing tied to them, I can go try to do some flow or something in the background to handle
Right.
some of
I
this.
don't think there is, but and it's more of like a historical like thing, because unless you have like some kind of database tied into that, like it's not gonna like you're all going by like I got a rejected email from Jenny Smith that said she doesn't work there anymore. So
Okay.
I'm gonna put that in as the end date.
Okay.
Or I just got notice that this is our new person for this thing, so this is their start date. I'm not going to ask them like, oh, when did you start with this company, right?
Right. Yep.
And so those dates are definitely going to be subjective to the information that your team gets.
Correct.
Um,
Okay. The
but-
one answer I did get back was to try CMDT enhanced related lists on the App Exchange. So I went out and poked around on it for what little time I had this morning, and I'll go back to it, but it's something from Salesforce Labs.
Yeah, I'm sure you looked at the help article, but it literally says the date a relationship between a contact and account starts or began or ended, used with the other field to keep history of the relationship. So it doesn't look like there's any out of the box functionality that bounces from that. Stuart, you're still like chomping at the bit.
I'm very confused. So I don't know the answer. Absolutely don't know the answer. But if you look at the triggers in order of execution page,
There you
I
go.
put into the chat. Where is it? It is blah blah blah. Near the bottom, I see these words here. And I also see it at the bottom of the page that you referred to of the object definition.
Right.
At the bottom of that page, it talks about usage. An account contact relation is created and its validation rules, database insertion, and triggers are executed immediately after the contact is saved to the database. When you change a contact's primary account, the account contact relation may be created or edited, and the account contact relation validation rules, database changes, and triggers are executed immediately after the contact is saved to the database. See order of execution, which again doesn't say that there is a trigger that happens, but it does say that please follow the order of execution because there may be.
It alludes to the possibility.
Mhm.
So I would look at your org's order of execution, check out your account contact relation triggers and your account triggers and your contact triggers. And when a contact is saved, does it trigger any validation rules, database changes, or triggers? That could be declarative or programmatic. That would make a change to those fields.
I can tell you that I've never put anything like
Yeah.
that on that object. And being the solo admin, I'm pretty certain there's nothing there.
I'm
I would
I-
wonder if the company your coworker came from had one of those in place.
That's what I was wondering
And
because they
that's-
had developers.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like they had a trigger that when that date came, possibly they removed the association or it no longer showed as a related contact.
It removed it from everywhere, whatever that means.
Right.
the history
little
eraser button.
The magic gnomes in Salesforce made
Oh.
it work.
Yes. Well, that was what I was assuming, but I was just trying to make sure there wasn't some black box functionality within Salesforce that I had missed finding somewhere that it was going to do something and I would be trying to override it or step on it or me get stepped on or something like that. So
Yeah.
Just
sounds like
bust
I
out the
might be
Doc
pretty
Martens and
safe. So,
go stomp. See what happens.
all right.
So
Thank
in
you,
our-
everyone.
In our, just an FYI, in our org, we don't have, the dates don't do anything, but we definitely had to build flow that when a contact moved from one account to another, it got unrelated to the original account because there was nothing. There is something in there that will automatically relate it, but it doesn't unrelate it, which is a little backwards to me. But
Yeah, when it's a direct
know.
contact.
yeah, when it's a
That was-
direct contact, it creates account relationship, a direct or account contact relationship record. But when you remove the direct contact, it doesn't uncreate that from that account. So,
Right. I've never been
know.
successful in getting rid of one of those. Which
yeah,
makes sense. It keeps us from having
we
contacts
built Flow
out there.
to do it. Yeah, we built Flow to do it.
But we
so-
also need to have the multi-point relationship because one yearbook advisor may do it for the grade school, the middle school, and the high school,
Mhm.
which are three
Right.
different accounts. So
Right. That makes good sense though.
anyway, I'll try to get a better definition of remove it from everywhere and we'll see what happens.
Mhm.
Need to drill down on that one just a little.
Yeah. Business users saying, oh, it's just gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's deleted. It's removed from your view. Like figure out what that means. All right.
Where do you guys see the account contact relation? Like if I'm in Salesforce and I'm looking, do I look under accounts? Do I look under contact? Where do you see that part of it?
So that's only going to be displaying if you have turned on contacts to multiple accounts. Does anyone have their sandbox open and can, I forget where that setting is.
Trying to get it open.
So contacts to multiple accounts. To set that up here, I'm gonna get this set up here, and then I'm gonna drop this link in the chat for you. But if you don't have this set up, you're not going to be seeing these things.
Okay.
And once you set it up, I don't think you can go backwards. Anyone correct me if I'm wrong, but oh, that's not helpful at all.
Once it is set up, Adriana, it's in your account record. There's a link called related
Okay.
contacts.
So that's
Right.
probably why I'm not seeing it.
Yeah,
And
it's there
what-
forever. So maybe turn that on in a playground, and you can mess around with it, but definitely don't turn that on in your org unless it's definitely something you want, because there are a lot of considerations with that. And it changes the way you interact with contacts quite a bit.
Okay, thank you.
Joy, you're talking about contacts with multiple accounts?
Yeah,
The help I found said you have to have Salesforce turn it on for you.
maybe they changed that. It's been a minute.
And it looks like you can turn it back off. There's a roll up.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Ooh, that would
it-
be nasty.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it would be really messy. It's
Um,
definitely like changed a little bit since I first touched it. And I'm no longer with the org that was using it, so I don't have answers on how
I've got
they-
it on my screen if you want me to show my screen. I
You
don't know.
can do that. Let me see if I can give you the power to share a screen.
I have the power.
I know, right? Oh my gosh. Can you, does the button work now?
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like maybe you can't disable the contacts to multiple accounts. You can change the roll up on how activities with that contact
Mhm.
work. Because if you have a contact logging activities, you want it to go into the appropriate account.
I don't know if you're
Yeah.
seeing the right screen.
Thrivent account settings.
This is my sandbox. Pay no attention to all of the tabs I have open. But
Thank you for
contacts
making me feel better.
under I just typed in under setup account settings, and there's very few settings under here. There used to be more. I'm kind of shocked to only see there's 5 settings. Allow users to relate a contact to multiple clients.
Hmm.
So
Stuart, from what I'm understanding, though, you still have to have the functionality turned on at a different level by Salesforce support.
okay.
Hang on, let me post what I'm reading. That would probably be nice, wouldn't it? Well,
Could be.
if I can find the chat window again, I'll post that.
Actually, I just spun up
There's-
the brand new DevOrg, and that setting is here for me, so that may be an out of date requirement.
The documentation could be out of date since I mean, we just had a release, so.
This was
and it-
published May 12 of 22,
Ouch.
what I'm looking at. Fairly recent. So I put the link out there if anybody wants to review it.
Yeah.
Call me crazy. It's been one of those days anyway.
Yeah, I think historical orgs may not have that function. You have to request Salesforce to enable it. That's what that is. Every new org that's been generated since set period of time that I don't know has that functionality enabled. You just have to turn it on. But some of the older orgs didn't have that stuff.
I got you.
The release, so you have to go, hey, Salesforce, turn this on so I can turn it on.
I missed the first line there. In the event your organization does not have the ability to configure this feature, please take the following steps.
There we go.
Thank you, Jacob.
Yeah, all the new orgs have it.
Thank you. I went
There
straight
we
to
go.
the bolded headline, not what was above it.
Just goes to show, like, we all need to like slow down just a minute. That's all right. That's all right. Good deal. All right, so let's see. Stu, what about Trail Tracker?
Yeah, this is more of a philosophical question. I am
Oh, no.
yeah.
Okay.
thinking about installing Trail Tracker. Started that was on the sandbox that I just showed you. I was going to start loading up Trail Tracker, and then down the 58 steps to install Trail Tracker. I thought, wait a second, maybe I don't actually need Trail Tracker. The goal is to start a curiosity community inside of my org, where the internal Salesforce team wants to learn, wants to be sparked with interest about Salesforce and the new Salesforce features. And when we build things, we think declaratively first and then go to code instead of just, oh, I can build that. Here's the requirements. I'm going to code it. Oh, that's great. Let's not do that. Let's think about the problem first and then think about how the different Salesforce ways to do it. So we're trying to build up this cohort of people that want to learn and use Trailhead, use release readiness, use videos, use the community, use Midwest Dreamin', use all sorts of ways of learning.
You're trying to do that internally, right?
Internally.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking other orgs have done this,
Mhm.
haven't they? Maybe I should get advice from others. What is the right way to do this? And what is the wrong way to do this?
I don't, does anyone else have any experience with this? I have done a little bit with this. And I'm not seeing anyone like flip their mute to unmute real fast to talk about
So
it.
I use Trail Tracker, but I also work for a consulting company. So that's how we track to see if people are keeping up to date. That being said, there are some nuances to it. So like everyone that's in your org, to get their results pushed into Trail Tracker, they're gonna have to set up their account or at least merge their account and have one of those associated email addresses that's tied to the email address of the user in your org. So that's just one little nuance. I mean, you can once that's all set up, it works perfectly. You know, you can see all the badges to complete, but it doesn't really drive anything unless you're building leaderboards and you're posting and that type of deal. But that, I mean, that's all based on volume of things that you've done, not necessarily comprehension and understanding of the material. One of the other things that I've done is I do a lot of internal presentations that we share about how we solve certain things, and those tend to do better, and that shows more comprehension of, hey, in this scenario of the XYZ, do this. And we call them Pen X's because it's a take on TED Talks, and I work for Penrod, so that's how we came up with that. But it's a 30-minute presentation on what you built or whatever's cool, what are you dealing with, and that's, we record them so people can view them later on. But it's just a way to kind of track that information. And other people who may have like problems can go find that particular video and watch, like, oh, that's cool. Then we can maybe do this, like things like that. Make Trail Tracker, it's good for tracking to see if people have done badges. If you have my Trailhead, they'll feed it into there too. But like I said, it's just, did I complete the module? Yes. That's pretty much all it does. If you want to encourage the other things, you have to be more innovative and have more group sessions where you talk about certain things, or if you want to do those things, have a release readiness party internally for your company, or have a monthly or weekly session where you talk about particular badge that you may have all just done, and then kind of review the ins and outs of why you should use one thing versus another. So that's my take on Trail Tracker. It's a good tool to track to see what badges people have, but it's not going to track comprehension of understanding, because as you know, you can go to a badge and it can say it take you 10 minutes, and they can spend a minute there because they answer 2 questions right.
Yeah.
At a previous company, we had Trail Tracker set up, and that was literally so I could share badges a little bit more easily with the sales users who had never touched Salesforce. All the rubber duck badges, you know which ones I'm talking about, I think, right?
Yeah.
And that helped their managers see what they'd done, like as far as like, well, you should understand the out of the box stuff. And, Joyce sat with you and explained how our company has customized things to do this. So you have the basics. Let's keep moving forward. Like if they hadn't gotten through those basics and they were still having trouble, then we knew that we could say, let's spend like an hour this morning going through the basics and, get you up to speed before we, plunge you into the detailed training. Because if they don't understand the basic building blocks of Salesforce, and this was from our like sales user space, not from a Salesforce professional space where they're working and configuring and writing codes and LWCs and et cetera. But I also worked with a team of folks who were very anxious to learn more and more about how to do the things in Salesforce, because I don't know why, but they really wanted my job. And I was like, yeah, here, let me teach you how to do this so that you can do the things that I don't have like the bandwidth to do all of. And we had weekly office hours where we kind of had, I mean, a meeting very much like this one, where they brought their challenges and their like pet projects that like they knew that I didn't have time to do. And they're like, how do I do this? I was like, well, let's get you started. Let's get you the like help documents that you need. Let's get you the instructions that you need. Let's get you started on the right foot in a sandbox. And you know, work through the how I solved this, if you will, like for your own company. It's a way to do it, but it's I think every company's got their own dynamic, and you're going to know better than anyone else what everyone will respond to. But what do you think?
Actually, that helps. Yeah.
Yeah. And
'Cause
you know, you
in
guys
our-
use Slack or Chatter.
Yeah. Yeah. Because in our instance, it's not like we're training new people. We know we've got good, intelligent people, but we are trying to make sure that the gaps, we have gaps. I have gaps. And we all have things where Salesforce has rolled out things and improved things. And so we're still dealing with legacy products that we are building from scratch, where Salesforce has made it easier just to do out of the box. And you don't know what you don't know. And so how do you get over that hump of fear? Well, you do that through knowledge. So it's, yeah, I think we have to customize our learning based on the people that we're teaching and what their needs are right now.
I was trying to think, there was another like, but I don't know if it's working anymore. I'm gonna have to look it up. Stu, I'll look for it. But once upon a time, we had gotten the Chicago Trailblazer community like all looped into this like trail tracker sort of thing that wasn't really trail tracker that you can install. It was
Yeah. Like a leaderboard thing. Yes.
Trailblazer.
Yes.
Top
Yeah.
Was
I
it
like
Johan
that.
that did that? And it was actually a lot of fun because we would, you know, all try to like push the badge count collectively. And you could see who knew about stuff that maybe you didn't, and then you could like ask questions of those folks and if you needed to. And but I don't know if if one of the releases broke his tool. Like I don't know what happened with that. And he may have run out of time.
Adam, go ahead, Jacob.
I would say it's still out there. You have to install something on your end. You have to actually push your badges. It used to automatically pull. Now you have to push your stuff.
Yeah. I remember Adam Olshansky showed me something like that he had developed. I'll look at that. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
So, and that's not installed in your org. That's something that your folks can opt into.
Mhm.
Yeah. And you can manage the group yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah, because Salesforce Saturday uses that for a lot of times when they do the global events.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for a while, I know the Chicago group, we built out like a trail mix of all the missing badges, because you know, when there was only like 1,000 badges, we'd be like, here's the missing badges, someone go do them. Round out the group, you know. But now that there's a bazillion, it's not quite the same. But you know, you could say like, here's the new release, go do a trail mix, and you know, pick it up that way. So that's another way to kind of help your team round out their knowledge base, is to identify
And
those badges.
I would push on the learn more too.
Yep.
The two quests, because that's not just Trailhead, that's also a blog post, and it's pretty good information there too.
For sure,
Okay.
for sure.
Thank you. That's great.
That was a lot. That was, what is it with philosophy today, Stu? Come on. It's craziness.
I'm not smart enough. They don't let me actually touch any orgs, so I'm just all I have is philosophical questions.
All good. It's all good.
You're too dangerous too. That's what it is. You're too dangerous. You know too much.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So that's where we're at, guys. Like, that's it. Does anyone have any other questions? Comments? Exciting happenings? I realized,
Good job, Joy.
oh, thanks. I realized yesterday I wasn't registered for a conference. I was like, can you check to see if I'm registered? I don't think I'm registered. And they're like, nope, you're not. And I'm like, thank you. It was for Witness Success. I'll be there.
Oh.
I'll be in Minneapolis all week, but I wasn't registered for Witness Success. I was like, how did that happen? Well, that's because it got pushed for 2 years.
Witness Success is supposed to be great this year.
Excited.
Everyone should go.
I'm
It's-
excited.
It looks like it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, Allies dinner is cocktail attire, so it's not no pajamas for the Allies dinner this year. Unless, of course, you're Michelle.
No, that is optional. So
The Allies
it
dinner is optional, yes, but
But
And the
cocktail
cocktail
attire, I think
attire
it's
is
also
optional.
optional. I feel like, but it's like, but like, if you're not gonna go cocktail, I think it's like pajamas are maybe discouraged, is the kind of the feeling I got.
yeah.
I
I
think
think
business
really-
casual is fine, but they are encouraging cocktail attire. So,
Yeah, I think the desire is truly not to have anybody showing up in t-shirts, and I'm sitting here laughing, going, I'm sorry, am I supposed to own something that isn't?
maybe
I-
just
I-
a
Oh, you're
blazer on, I
community
don't know.
people, come
I
on.
don't know. I
mean-
saw that and I was like, a dress? I don't wear dresses. Man.
I'm like, okay, do I need
Well,
a
I don't wear
Salesforce
them, but I
polo
have
shirt?
them. Those are different things.
Well, it is the end of July, and Minneapolis in the end of July is gonna be hot. It always is hot. And
Yes, but we'll be in a
and-
hotel conference center, so it will be cold.
okay, well, that might help. But I was thinking, I do have a suit jacket, but me in a suit jacket on the hottest day of the year, that is a disaster waiting to happen. You do not want to be around that.
It
I
was
shouldn't
it
send
was
you my
one of those
tux, huh, Stu?
one of those tweets that I was rolling around in my head. And I was like, whew. Okay. Cocktail attire.
Not good.
Cocktail attire.
You
I
okay?
don't know. All right, friends. So it is just about 2:00. So I'm so glad that you are all here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If there is anything that I can do for you between now and our next call, hit us up on the Twitters or in the community group, because that is where you're going to get the most help. But also, we're happy to talk with everybody anytime. Michelle, it was good to see you at Connections, even if it was just for a couple little moments, but it's good to see you in person.
Absolutely.
Anything else? Anybody? Anyone? Man, you are ready for Fridays, summer Fridays. Everyone off now the rest of the day, because that's what I heard from my husband. He's like, we don't have to work the rest of the day.
No, ours are every other week. So next week
Nice.
I get off.
Nice. All right, friends. So we're going to stop recording and I'm going to say goodbye and talk to you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye, everybody. Let's see. If I knew how to hang up the call. It's so great when I'm using like someone else's